My name's Rob Statham, and it was my honor to sit down with MIT Sloan management professor John Carroll recently and discuss his thoughts on a recent study he presented on how people, safety professionals, think about safety. You're going to enjoy this. Here's John.
One thing that stood out to me is after the first survey with your presentation, you mentioned that a few causes were external to the organization. And the first thought that hit me was I would almost expect that, because I look at things, I'm putting myself in their position, I look at things I can control, right? What are your thoughts about that? And why did that stand out to you?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And I think it's very natural for people to think about having causes that are understandable, having fixes that are controllable, that we can implement. We have the resources, or we know how to do it, and we have the authority to do it. And I think that's very natural. So, someone who is a manager in an oil plant or a chemical plant or whatever, I mean, they don't think that they can change the regulatory system. And, if they thought the regulator was a problem, or the legal system, or our sense of legal liability, I will tell you, just to think about the legal system for a moment, there is a company that I observed for a bit, and they did extremely detailed and thorough root cause analyses, but they didn't write them up as detailed and thorough. They would give verbal reports to their managers on what they found, but what they would write up was pretty sketchy. And why? Is because they felt that, or their legal department or somebody had told them that if you write all this up in detail, it's a roadmap for a lawsuit. Right? That somebody got injured or something, blew up, whatever. You're gonna get the employee, or somebody's going to sue you, and therefore you can't put in writing what really happened, and in the detail that you would need in order to really understand it. Now, that's one company, but the idea here is that how do we learn, if we can't put things in writing? It becomes a very slow, very limited process. Maybe my manager knows he can't put it in writing, he's got to remember. Maybe we figured out what to do about it, but then when we put in a fix, we don't even write down somewhere why we did that. So the next person coming along doesn't know why that fix is there, and maybe the next leader takes it out because they have a different idea and they don't understand why it was done, because it was never written down, because the legal system is preventing people from communicating openly. It's a real concern. It's a realistic concern, but it still feels like self-handicapping, right? That we have to go around with one, with a piece of our brain tied behind our back, because we can't be open and honest with each other in that way. So that's the kind of thing I would worry about, and would hope that leaders who have more authority and more power would think about how to deal with the larger system. Maybe an industry could talk. Aviation certainly talks to the FAA. Nuclear power talks to the regulator. They can renegotiate how the relationship between companies and regulators, or the legal system. You can write legislation. You can do these things. It's not easy. And I'm sure that a maintenance worker, it doesn't feel like he or she can just change legislation, but somebody can. Collectively, if we all agreed this was the right thing to do, we could change it. So those larger topics, they don't have to be that big, but those larger external topics that are beyond the sense of control of the people filling out our survey, I absolutely agree with you. But on the other hand, I feel that we have to have some avenues for addressing those bigger concerns too.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. I believe culture is tied directly to that. That's what makes the worker, the maintenance worker, feel like he has no effect on changing things around here. And then even the board of directors and the CEO of an entire organization, they still feel that, as you said, it's difficult. It's almost like we have to get together to affect positive change.
Yeah, I mean that is culture, but it's tied in with power. You know, it's about who feels
Yes.
they have power to get things. I mean, to me, power is, it's not about competition. It's that I beat you up, therefore I'm powerful. It's power is, one definition of it at least, is the ability to get things done. So when you feel that you don't have any power, when you're a worker or a manager or even a CEO or board member, whatever, you feel you don't have power, you can't get anything done. So when we empower people, we give them ways to accomplish things. So it's really good to empower people because they get more done, and we benefit from them doing more.
It's a difficult thing for people to see that. I can attest to talking to the worker in a plant and the plant manager, and they both feel that same effect, that they want to know why he doesn't take care of it, and the plant manager wants to know why they don't do what they're supposed to do. And that element of blame, it almost shuts you off from seeking how to change things, right? You feel like you cut yourself off, that you have no power.
Even those at the very top of the organization can feel that same sense of powerlessness, that they don't know what to do about this, or they, you know, all they can do is demand things of the people underneath them, and then nothing changes, and they don't understand why that's not working. So it can be very frustrating for everybody, and we're always looking to someone else. They must be able to do something. They must be able to do something, pointing up, pointing down, wherever we're pointing. Somebody else must have the power to make things happen, and we can't, you know, somehow we can't figure out who that is. So I do believe that there are ways to get things done, and some of it involves taking some chances and making yourself vulnerable, and some of it involves working together. In nuclear power, the industry I've had the most experience with, the industry came together after 3 Mile Island in INPO, the Institute of Nuclear Power Operations, and INPO has been able to accomplish a lot as a collective action. But that was kind of unique in some ways to nuclear power, because at that time they were not directly competing with each other. You know, so what keeps companies from coming together and cooperating is either the sense of competition, that these are trade secrets that we need to hold on to, or even the law, again, that says you're not allowed, you know, as competitors in an industry, you're not allowed to collude and, you know, make a cartel and determine things, because that's viewed as anti-competitive and anti-American. But it's kind of a challenge then. How do you work together to make improvements that we need to work together for, if we're not allowed to work together?
Certainly. Sir, I have taken all your time, and I appreciate it so much. Thank you for taking time to be on the Failsafe Moment, and I adore your work, and you're able to talk to a normal guy like me, and I'm able to understand, and that's a powerful thing.
Well, thanks, Rob. Thanks for all the really good questions. I mean, there's a lot to talk about here. And I've really enjoyed this conversation.
Thank you for listening to the Failsafe Moment. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Please share in the comments. Have a great day.